Hello and welcome. Carl here from Quick Channel. Welcome you to today's session. We're gonna wait a couple of minutes to get people joining in to today's session. But welcome here. My name is Carl. I am VP of Marketing here at Quick Channel. Just finished my first 3 months actually, and a bit of a milestone because this is my first live event here with Quick Channel. With me from South Africa, I have Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine.
Hello, good to see you on the other side.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm great. This is not my first rodeo, but it's still nerve-wracking.
I'm missing you here in the studio, but you have obviously nicer weather where you are than here in Stockholm, I think. What's the temperature? What's the weather like today in South Africa?
We have like 21 plus degrees. Yep.
That's awesome. I wish we had that here, to be honest. Very grayish and cold today. But I think we're gonna kick it off. I see there's a bunch of folks joining in now. So again, welcome to this session, this webinar called Live Studio, the Future of Interactive Live Events. The agenda for today is that me and Jasmine, we will host a demo of our most recent product called Live Studio, which is basically a webinar tool that we view as the future for interactive live events. And you will know exactly what this means here in a bit. Before we start, I'm actually going to launch a poll because this wouldn't be an interactive live event without ourselves using a interactive element. So before I launch this poll, you need to join the chat in order to answer it. I'm going to launch it now. So in order to participate in the chat, and the question is, are you currently using a webinar tool? You have to join the chat in order to participate, I should say. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds for you to join in and answer it. Mostly yeses. Cool. So we have experienced folks here in the session. That's really awesome to see. Cool. The next step is actually to jump into the demo. And I want to acknowledge that the demo is live from tape. The reason why we did this live from tape, because we wanted to have a nice physical interactivity between me and Jasmine. So we recorded this here in the studio in Stockholm a few weeks ago. But now, as you can see, Jasmine is joining in as a guest presenter remotely. So without further ado, we're actually going to launch the demo, and you'll see interactive elements during the demo. After the demo, which is going to be like aroundish 30 minutes, we will switch back to a live Q&A. You don't have to wait with your answers for the Q&A. It's fine to ask your question in the chat during the demo. And then we will answer your questions and have a discussion around that. So again, warm welcome here to today's channel, to today's webinar with us at Quick Channel. And without further ado, let's jump into the demo. Welcome to today's session about our newest, most recent product called Live Studio. Today, the purpose is to really do a deep dive of a demo of the product. But before we start, it makes a lot of sense to just present ourselves and obviously Quick Channel for those who don't know about us. quick facts about us. Quick Channel has been around for actually more than 20 years. We are a video platform based in Stockholm, Sweden.
Yes.
But we have colleagues in Finland and Poland, which makes us of a total of about more than 40 employees, actually. 2/3 work in engineering and with the product. Our vision is to be the go-to platform for professionals working with video. Myself, I am VP of Marketing. I have been at Quick Channel for just a bit more than 3 months. So that's why I have the expert here with me, Jasmine. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Jasmine Skarpfors, product designer at Quick Channel. I'm responsible for the UI and the UX experience of all our products. And yeah, I work with the tech team.
And you've been heavily involved in the development and design of Live Studio that we're going to be talking about today, right?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. So without further ado, we're sending now during lunch hour. So hopefully you've eaten already, or grab your lunch and sit back and enjoy as we're going to take you through the demo of Live Studio. So without further ado, please, Jasmine, take us through the product.
Yes, and for those who are not familiar with the platform, we are going to start on the homepage in the what we call end-to-end platform. Do you think we should elaborate what that means to us?
Yes, I've literally no idea before I joined Quick Channel what an end-to-end platform means. Can you please elaborate?
So as most people know, there are products that solve specific problems. Maybe you can use Zoom or YouTube for a specific purpose, but we want to involve the entire workflow by calling us an end-to-end platform. So you can edit, you can do live, you can have your video library, your on-demand, and much more. So you can have the entire workflow. We're trying to cover as much as possible in that.
Awesome. So now we know what an end-to-end platform is.
Yes.
But we're not going to talk about the whole platform today. We're going to focus specifically on Live Studio. And
Yes.
what is Live Studio?
Yes, the Live Studio is our latest live solution that we just launched. I mean, it's brand new. And it's combining the best of all our previous experience, all our, plus 20 years of live solutions and 4 different live combinations. So it's combining mixing different sources. It's letting you have interactive events, and it's letting you invite guest presenters and much more. Yeah.
And I assume some of these things, aren't just, taking out of the blue, out of thin air. This must have been, progressed over time based on needs from our prospects and customers, right?
Absolutely. We have done quite an extensive, a lot of work on user research and constantly keeping a product-centered, user-centered product development, which means we speak to our existing customers, potential customers. Where do they want us to be heading with the product? What do they need? What are they missing? What is the market missing? And this is something that we have pinpointed is missing completely from the market. So it's unique.
Mm. And this caters to not only communicators or people working traditionally with communication, but it could be marketeers, HR professionals, video producers, right? It caters to a wide spectrum of roles, right?
Absolutely. That's possibly my greatest challenge, and our greatest challenge is a very broad user base and finding a solution that is simple enough for professionals and maybe not professionals to be able to use it and to find value in our products.
Cool. So let's jump into it, right?
Absolutely. We're going to show the whole user flow today and show you what steps we recommend or are required or not required to do a live studio event. So naturally, you need to start by scheduling it. I guess that's what the marketing department often does.
That's what we usually do, of course,
Same.
setting up the event from scratch.
Yes.
So take us through it. There's a couple of fields here that you have to fill that are required.
Yes. So this is some work that we did last year, trying to minimize the amount of steps that are required to get going. So actually, the only thing that you need to fill in is the name of the event and when it will be. Everything else is optional. So
Are there some, sorry to interrupt, are there some things here that I can change once I've created the event?
Not really. There's a few technical things that are connected to your account settings. So like an account default that also we have developed to minimize the amount of time you spend on scheduling new events. Those you're going to have to go into your account settings to change. So not once you're in the user interface of the live studio. We can look at some of those later.
Cool. So what we're going to do today, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to actually create an event as you're doing now, and then launch the event to showcase some of these features, right?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So for the sake of maintaining interactivity, we will enable the chat. Here you have full control over if you want it to be pre-moderated or not. And then we have one of my favorite things about Quick Channel, the appearance of the event. And this we do so that you can have full control of the interface that the viewers are seeing. So the background, the logotype, the chat colors, the fonts, everything. I guess that's kind of important for somebody from marketing, would you say?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you want to connect your event in this case to your unique brand identity, right? I know that this has been a struggle for people that have used, you know, the largest global video conferences, because it's really is a limitation for you to connect it to your brand identity. So yeah, this is definitely a big plus.
Absolutely. And again, that comes from a account default, so you don't have to set this up every time. But if you want to do something specific, like a Christmas webinar, perhaps you want to change it to a red theme temporarily or something like that. So you can change it per event as well. And we have the registration. And this is so that you can track whoever is attending your event or signing up or didn't show up. And this is, again, important for those who want to work with the marketing. We have a couple of options. It's the quick channel registration, which you can see a little preview on the right. This is also customized according to our brand identity. And otherwise, we have a couple of common integrations that our customers have requested. Perhaps you have already your customer base in HubSpot and you want to maintain your registration through HubSpot. But you want to see the data in Quick Channel, and that's why we have this option. You are in charge of what input fields you want, what kind of data. This is also, you can add custom input fields in your account default and just turn some of those on. And then there's a couple of advanced settings that not very common to change per event.
Can we just take a look at those, what those might be?
Yes. It's such things like, do you want autoplay, which means the player should start playing by itself, or do you want, for accessibility reasons, sometimes it's important that the user itself chooses to start when the video should start. Low latency can be very important when it's live. There's some technicalities. Also, security is something we take very seriously. If you want to be very much in control of who will be able to attend this event, if it's a closed internal event, let's say, then maybe only the people from our domain should be able to attend. So we can lock it down to that, or geolocking, single sign-on. Yeah, there's different security settings here. If it's not an external event, this could be very important.
Right. I can see a use case for that, definitely.
Yeah.
But due to conscious of time, should we just create the event and jump into it?
Absolutely. I'm choosing not to record. It's just letting me know that I'm making that choice. And let's see, I think I need to choose a channel that is available and a time that is not too close to the present. So now we are entering the live studio.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we have here? So I can see console options. I can see guest presenters. Should we start with the sources?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So this is what we call the source panel at the bottom here. If you are administrating this event, this is the most important place for you. This is where it's like a green room, a little mini green room.
Mm-hmm.
You can have your studio channels and RTMP waiting here. You can prepare them ahead of time. And you can have live channels waiting. If, for example, we are live today, I can connect my camera, I can test my audio, everything can be prepared. So when we go live, we've already checked this. Share a screen, share a PowerPoint, set it up ahead of time.
So if you want to see, let's say that you're just a couple of minutes away from going live, you want to enable your screen sharing or your camera, how do I do that?
Really simple. So first you have to wait until we enter the preview mode. That's when you can start testing your channels.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will add our camera, lovely angle from below. And this doesn't mean that it's going live in any way. It's just prepared so that when I need it, it's there.
Again, it's in the green room area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And like you said, we can add a studio source here. We know that channel 5 will be attending later on. So here you can set up your sources and also invite guest presenters ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Should we perhaps
can you invite me?
You?
Yeah, please. Yeah. So imagine I'm a guest presenter elsewhere, remote. I'm not standing next to you.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the use case, right?
Absolutely. And we are now doing this in real time, which could be the case. We decide we need an expert to comment on this, or can you call Kalle? He needs to say something on our all hands, and we forgot to send the link ahead of time. It's okay. You can send it now. He will have it within a couple of seconds.
So I'll go to my inbox then.
Mm. This is typically something you do ahead of time, I would say. You send out your invites to your guest presenters as soon as you've scheduled the event.
Yeah, I can now see the invitation and I'll click join the webinar.
Fantastic.
And I was landed on a quick channel event page, and it's now saying the host has been notified. Please wait here until the host lets you in.
Exactly. So you can be feeling safe in the way that nothing will happen automatically without my control. I first have to accept. I have invited Carl. Is it Carl that is appearing here? It is. I can accept that he is allowed. And again, he is not going live in any way. I am in full control of your audio and your video. If I can see that you connected the wrong camera, I can remove you and say, connect again, choose a different camera, something like that. So I will keep you in my green room until it's your turn to speak.
Cool. And then, so we covered the sources,
yes.
Right? But then I'm sure people are very curious about the interactivity. What kind of interactivity functions or features do we have available in Live Studio?
Yes, this is potentially one of my favorite topics of all time. I mean, I've spent a lot of time doing workshops with our focus groups here at Quick Channel. So those are existing customers from both private and public sector, and have asked them, how can we make your events more engaging? And then we've done quite a lot of workshops on those, and we have come up with a few solutions. Nothing crazy is the chat. We do allow for multiple chat rooms. That has been a request.
And why is that important for folks?
So I would say it's important to maybe keep a separate Q&A, so that if there's a lot of people attending your events, I mean, some of our customers can have hundreds, if not thousands of people in a chat. The questions will disappear quite quickly in a flow like that. So then you have a specific room, maybe for a Q&A, or a specific room where you can publish your answers. Maybe as an expert, Quick Channel's answers on this question was this. And then you can keep that in a separate room, for example. You can be saying that I need to approve these messages. Especially, I would say the public sector has a need to be in control of what kind of questions appear in the chat here.
You can even have other moderators, right? And share the link.
Yes.
With those people.
Exactly. So if somebody in the company is only in charge of the engagement, I would share the chat moderator link to them, and they will just be answering questions and sharing maybe the poll results in the chat, for example.
All right, cool. Okay, so we have the chat. What about polls?
Yes, polls is not necessarily something new of ours. We've had this feature for a while, and it's very appreciated when you want to get some data from your participants, find out how did they find this event. If you don't have registration, you actually don't know who they are. It's completely GDPR compliant. We don't even have their names unless they join the chat. So you can ask them, do they work with video communication today? What tools do they use? Yeah, really, the freedom is all yours. So how did you find us? There's different kinds of questions for different purposes. Single select, obviously, you can only choose one, or multi-select. Maybe they found us through LinkedIn, but also word of mouth.
Word of mouth, yeah.
And perhaps also Facebook.
Email. Yeah.
Yeah. There can be a mix of both. And
now this is just a draft. It's not launched yet, right?
Exactly. So perhaps as a person setting up this event ahead of time, I know what questions we want to ask, so I can save these drafts and then just publish them when the time is right in the live event.
Awesome. So you can prepare a lot in advance.
Yes.
Cool. So the elephant in the room, CTA. Why is this such a big thing, and why are you so excited about this?
Yes. This again has been requested by a lot of people, because we have a few great live solutions today, but the only engaging options have been a chat and polls. And there was something missing. Let's say that you embed the player on your website. There's just a stream. There's nothing really
interactive with it.
No, and there's nothing that I can benefit from that as the host of this event. Like, I want them to visit my site afterwards. How do I do that? You can publish the link in the chat, but maybe they don't see it. Again, if it's hundreds of people, it will be lost. So we definitely were requested to have something that measurable results, and you can, steer the people to where you want them to be.
And grab their attention as they're looking on the actual player, right?
Exactly. And not just send an email afterwards asking, what did you think about our event? Ask them right now, right here, when they're live.
So let's create a call to action.
Absolutely. And this is the same kind of concept as the polls. You can prepare these ahead of time. It's likely that you know what you want to ask, or you want them to visit your site or book a demo form. You can prepare these. There's a couple of different options. We will be looking at the classic call to action today, but we also have a few options like just a button that maybe downloads a document and opens it in a new tab. Information banner like we'll be back in 5 minutes, or this is the topic that we're talking about right now. Some people maybe came in late, could be good to clarify. And also the speakers, who is on stage right now, where do they come from? Sometimes, at least for me, I didn't really hear, oh, but where did they come from? Oh, it was Quick Channel, yes. And then we can make a speaker banner and explain who that person is. And as you can see the little preview, we can see exactly what it will look like when we send it out. So just for the sake of this demo, we are going to make a classic call to action. Visit our site to read more. Again, some of these fields are optional, and we are also instructing you in how many characters are suitable here. If you put too many, a button will no longer look like a button. So there's a couple of guidelines that I've included. Click here. We have a link prepared to Quick Channel. And you can also choose if you want this one to stay open until I close it, or I want it to be closed automatically, so I don't have to think about that. Yeah. So
makes sense.
Exactly. So we can save a couple of these drafts, actually. There's no limit, really. And then you can choose which ones you're sending out.
Cool. Can we create the speaker also, so we can see that later when we're actually testing these live?
Absolutely. I remember we did invite Carl to the stage. You can say, yes, the VP of marketing from Channel.
Nice. That will give me a proper introduction.
Absolutely. Saved.
Cool. So we covered chat, polls, and CTA. What about registration? Do we need to mention that? Because that's another option we see on the right-hand menu.
Yes. Absolutely. This, as we remembered when we made the event, we chose to go with the Quick Channel registration. This is easy to just turn on and off, and we could quickly look at what that page looks like, actually, as it is completely customizable. Even in real time, if I decide, oh, somebody told me we really need to know the company, it will update automatically. And also, if you need to remove this page, it also is automatically removed. So yeah, this is the registration page if you really need to know who is attending your event.
And not just share the live link.
Exactly.
Once it's live.
Yeah. And that's perhaps a question that the companies that have really hard GDPR requirements on them, they're not allowed to collect this kind of data. So then you just keep it as an open event, turn off registration, and none of that data is collected.
All right. Anything else we need to cover in the green room settings, or should we jump into the live link and how it looks like for the viewer?
Yeah, I think we have covered it all. Perhaps just a note to say that this interface is responsive, as you see. So if I am in charge of mixing the channels, perhaps I don't want the chat open just to be able to focus on my channels. Or if I'm a moderator, I maybe want to see the chat. Maybe it's very important that I join the chat and I pin a message here beforehand. So this entire user face is responsive, and yeah, we've really put a lot of thought into where we have placed things to make it user friendly.
Cool. All right. So let's take a look at the live view then.
Absolutely.
So that's where you copy the link, event link, in the top center there, or top right corner,
Yes.
more or less.
Exactly. We wanted to keep it as accessible as possible. It can also be found here in the links, where you can find the chat moderator link or the participant chat link. For those who do hybrid events, this is so that maybe people in the room want to have the chat on their phone, but they are watching it live, so they don't need.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
That's
you can
smart.
also print that as a QR code
Mm,
and share that in the room on that day.
that's nice.
So let's open the participant view. And here we can see that the event is live. There's the chat. I can join it.
And I'll join then as a guest presenter.
Mm-hmm. And then I think we should start adding a couple of sources to the stream to make it a little more fun. We have here a studio channel of a pre-recorded video.
Our colleague Jenny.
Yes, our lovely colleague Jenny. And then we have our fantastic camera up my face. And here you can see the options. I'm in charge of where I want to place my source. And we have a couple of layouts here. We have the one that we call equal, which, as you can see as the examples, is most suitable if you have a lot of guest presenters, for example. If there's going to be 4 people or more, we recommend this one. Otherwise, the prioritized layout is really nice. In this example, we want the people to look at the video, but we also want them to see us on the side there. Or you can you can also do that's fine. You can also do the picture-in-picture if it's a PowerPoint presentation. And my camera is not very important, but I still need to be seen in some shape or form. Yeah, that's it. And remember that Kalle is waiting here as a guest presenter, so whenever I'm ready to bring him on, he's added to the side panel. And we can have a debate or clarify something. So again, this is extremely responsive depending on where we want to draw the eye. We can see that picture-in-picture is no longer possible because that only allows 2 sources.
So whenever you're switching topics or speaker, you as an admin can control the layout.
Exactly. So let's say now that I think what you are saying is the most important, and me and Jenny are just listening on the side, I can enhance your image.
And how does this look like on the viewer end then?
Yes. So this is what they see. Yeah, they have the chat, they have the branded page that we set up in advance. You can see that I'm changing the layouts. There is a slight delay in the mixing of the sources, but it's a very low delay. And yeah, they can also write questions in the chat. And we should probably show what it looks like to launch a call to action for them.
Yes, please.
So now that you're on stage, thinking we can start by telling them that it's you on stage, and the speaker sort of slides in from the side. And we have also only allowed one call to action at a time, so they don't end up on top of each other. So if we want to start the next one, we first have to close that and then launch another one. The call to action. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, you can then draw your attention to that specific page or where you want the customers to go. You can make another one, say visit our site. Click here, the link, save, close the first one, publish it. And when we click that, they're taken to our site.
Nice.
Like we said before, there's many user cases for this kind of feature, but that's just one of them. And perhaps we also want to publish a poll.
Sure.
You can see what that looks like as well. So they get it in the chat.
And I see that on my end as well. And I'm going to say word of mouth, send reply.
As an email. Thank you. And then as an admin.
And this is optional to show the results in the chat as well.
Exactly. So I can see the results in real time, and perhaps this is not interesting information for participants or even sensitive information that I want to keep to myself. So I don't have to share it, but I can. And then it will be shown as a normal message in the chat once we have closed it. So we're no longer collecting data for this question.
Cool. And now you chose to send it in the chat. But could you also do this in the Q&A, in the other chat that we called or titled Q&A? That's possible, right?
Let's see. No.
So that goes to the main chat.
It goes to the main chat, yes.
Okay.
The first chat. Yeah.
But that's good to know. Cool. Is there anything else you would like to mention as part of this newly released product? I'm thinking of analytics, right? People are going to be interested about analytics. How has this event impacted XYZ or this KPI that I want to measure my video event on? How can I track that? How can I visualize the analytics?
Yes. So first of all, we have some simple analytics in the top navigation called Watching Now. You can see that we have multiple sources added here, but a guest presenter and administrators do not count as a viewer. That's important to know. But if we did have live viewers, we would see this statistics update. And then we have a deep dive into the analytics after we end this event. So do you want to see that as well?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Yeah, so immediately when you look at the statistics, there will be some basic stats in the last 30 days. It's important to know that this is not the complete statistics page, but you can go into a deep dive on our analytics page in the console. Here you will have all your live events, all your on-demand, the statistics for everything. Look at the engagement. The viewer time could be really good to look at. When did people drop out? Why did we have a little drop in people at 14:35? Okay, it's because we took a break. Now we know maybe not to do that next time. So you can learn a lot from analytics, absolutely.
And engagement, is that measuring the CTA clicks, for instance?
No, that will be a separate data that you can also download as a CSV or an Excel. You can see per call to action or per polls, how many people answered it. Yeah. So that's a separate statistics than this.
Okay. Cool. Anything else you would like to add before we jump into the Q&A?
Not really. Just to point out that the unique parts about the live studio is GDPR compliance. I mean, our amazing developers have built this in-house. There's no third party. There's nothing. So we are completely in charge of the data. And yeah, that you can now mix your own little live mixer in the browser.
Which was previously not possible, if I understood you correct.
Exactly. So we've had guest presenters before, we have had mixing of sources, but we've never put them in one user face. And there's no competitor out there that does this today. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for this walkthrough. I learned a lot, I think, as a first-time user. Should we then jump into the Q&A and see what kind of questions folks have?
Absolutely. Exciting.
Cool. Hello and welcome back to the live Q&A. Again, I hope you enjoyed this session, and I've just launched a live poll because this wouldn't be an interactive event if we didn't do interactive elements, as I started with saying in the beginning of the session. So how often do you, who's listening in, run interactive events? Is it once a week, once a month, once a quarter, once a year? Maybe you're never launching or running interactive events. We would love to hear from you in the poll. We have also seen a bunch of questions popping into the chat. I have one question to you, Jasmine. So can I make my own CTA layouts? During the session, we saw a couple of CTAs on the player. Something I thought about, is that something that you can do? Can you mix and customize the CTA layout?
Yeah, so in terms of the layout, you can definitely customize the font and the primary color that's being used. And then that's about it. And we have plans on developing this call to action further in the future. So definitely we're going to do more user research on what other options our users want and if they want to save more different kinds of templates.
Cool. Speaking of which, I will showcase how our CTA looks like with a button click. So now you should see it live with a button click on the player. So you can click that and that should take you to another page. So this is a great way that we showcased in the demo, but here we can do it live again, how you can drive conversions when you have the viewer attention immediately during your live event. And we're hoping, and we've been seeing this quite a lot as a demand from our customers and prospects, right, Jasmine?
Sorry, one more time. I was reading a good question in the chat.
Yeah, so I mean, this has been a big ask from the community, right? To add on a CTA functionality like this. Can you take us very briefly on the journey and how you have developed this in Live Studio?
Yes, I mean, it all started with this user research that we spoke about with the focus groups, and we do those regularly. And this time we wanted to focus on engagement, something that we felt that a lot of um, solutions are missing a bit of that, and maybe the chat isn't enough. So yeah, this call to action came up a lot. And then I asked further, I dig deeper to say, what should they look like? Should it be, I basically left the question open, and some of them suggested, oh, imagine when you're watching the news, there's like a banner across the screen at the bottom. I want that. Most people said a button is enough. Some people said they were referring to different things that they have seen in the past, which is the most common thing to do. And yeah, and then we developed those. I made a couple of designs. I think 5 of those made it into development. And then I really look forward to getting the feedback on the designs that we have now, the templates. And I know there will be more user cases and more designs of call to actions in the future.
Cool. There's a question here for you, I think, that you can answer in the chat from Anna. How many active streams can you use in total?
Yeah, currently we have a limitation of 6. So you can have 6 guest presenters or 6 web cameras or 2 PowerPoints, and then yeah, you get the point.
Yeah. And why 6 though? What, like, is it a technical limit or or challenge to have more than 6, or why just 6, if I may ask?
So we looked at our current uses of webinar actually, and we tried to tell how many people are using more than X amount. And because we had a limit there of, I think it could have been 16, it was a lot higher. And I don't know how often you turn, invite 16 guest presenters. It becomes quite cluttered. So it turned out I think 6 is a magic number for now. Yeah.
Cool. Igor says, hi there. Is it possible to get the interface wrap around info in English? So send as opposed to skicka, for example.
Oh, I think they are referring to the button in the chat. Send.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I am not 100% sure about this, but it should follow your browser language. But I
I
will
think
look into that.
Yeah, I think it has to do with us having the player in the player settings in Live Studio. We set it to Swedish actually, and it should have been set to English for this event. So that's why you're seeing that, Igor, as opposed to skicka.
Mm.
Um, Another question from Igor: what is the enhance option exactly? So one of the buttons you get when the video is active with the mouse over the video. Can you elaborate on that, Jasmine?
Yeah, I think enhance option. Are they referring to the layouts option called enhance? I believe. Would you interpret that differently, Kalle?
That's a good question.
Maybe Igor could elaborate on that. But if it
Can
is
you,
what,
can you elaborate what you mean, Igor, with that question?
mm,
Thank you. Feel free to ask any more questions for Jasmine while we have the Q&A. So Igor says, so the other button is picture in picture.
mm. Oh yeah, so it's the layout options of the stream. We have the picture in picture, enhanced, and I think it's called equal, the third one. So enhanced was in the demo when Kalle was on a big screen on the left, and then me and Jenny were the small boxes on the right. And this could be done with, I think it's a maximum of 5 streams potentially. There will be one big screen, often a PowerPoint, and then there will be board members or CEO, CTO, CPO talking on the right with the small pictures.
Cool. Let's see if we have any other questions that we didn't answer yet. I think we covered them in the chat. Anders says, are you using Live Studio right now, mixing guest presenter and studio signal? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Is that something you would like to dig deeper on and how that works, Jasmine?
No, I mean, I just think it's amazing that I can sit here on the other side of the world and talk to you, and we are playing, a pre-recorded demo. It's the best of all the worlds, and it's been a goal for a long time.
Awesome. I agree. Even though it's nice and cozy to have you here in the studio, it's nice and cozy to have you as a guest presenter remotely. So we would love to hear what you thought about this session. So I've launched a link. I launched a survey that I sent in the chat for you to fill out. If there's no other questions about Live Studio, technical product related questions or anything else, I think we can wrap up the session. I'm sure that you have meetings to attend too. But whether you have watched this live or on demand, we hope this was valuable for you, and that you have learned a lot on how to run an interactive live event. So thank you everyone for joining, and we hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you.